Hi, precious heart. Thank you for joining us for our weekly vlog. We are all still assimilating the incredible light we were blessed with as we passed through the fifth dimensional Lion's Gate on August 8th. That shift has provided our I Am presence with the opportunity to raise our consciousness and within the eternal moment of now to perceive what is happening in the outer world with new insight. As you listen to these words, breathe your holy breath in and out deeply and consciously. In deep gratitude for the honor of serving all life on this sweet earth today, our I Am presence is consecrating our life force to be the open door for the love and light of God. Through the heartfelt request of our I Am presence, we have co-created a unified field of our Father, Mother God's comprehensive divine love that will now permanently embrace Mother Earth and all life evolving upon her as humanity's awakening is accelerated. Day by day, more and more people are awakening, and as they awaken, they begin to remember who they are and why they are here. This realization is inspiring people to raise their heart and mind up, which in turn raises their consciousness and allows the light of God to increase on earth. When a person's consciousness is raised and the light of God increases in their life, they begin to see with new eyes and hear with new ears. This phenomenon has a wonderful effect of allowing people to clearly perceive the oneness of life and the divine truth that all life is interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent. They then know that we are all one and that there is no such thing as us and them. When that profound truth begins to resonate in the deepest recesses of a person's heart, the validity of anything causing pain and suffering becomes unacceptable. Sometimes the reflex response is for the newly awakened person to take a stand against those negative situations and behavior patterns. This causes the awakened person to inadvertently polarize themselves against the people involved. Anytime we polarize ourselves against a person or group of people, we motivate them to fight back. This merely widens the abyss between us and causes further separation. We often attempt to solve the problem by arguing our case and trying to coerce the people we are polarized against into seeing things our way. We share all of our newly acquired insights and try to convince them that their way of thinking and feeling is flawed. They, in turn, argue from their perspective that our way of thinking is delusional and that we are being duped by illusions and unrealistic idealism. These arguments are futile and only exacerbate our polarization. People do not know what they do not know. When we awaken, our consciousness is raised up, and our perception of reality is transformed. An awakened person has new insight and literally thinks, feels, sees, and hears with greater awareness. This shift of consciousness allows one to perceive a greater truth and to comprehend the oneness of life at a deep level. This creates a knowing within the awakened person's heart center that is indisputable. When an unawakened person tries to discredit that knowing of an awakened person, it is like a deaf and blind person trying to convince a sighted hearing person that there is no such thing as color or music. The difference in that situation is that the sighted hearing person would understand perfectly why the deaf and blind person was having trouble grasping the concept of color and music. The sighted hearing person would have compassion for the deaf and blind person and would respond to him or her with patience and understanding. Unfortunately, we cannot easily tell if someone is awakened or not. So often we make the mistake of assuming that people should know more than they do, or that they should understand more than they are capable of understanding. When we expect more from people than they are capable of, we are generally disappointed and frustrated with their actions and their perception of things, which only polarizes us further. This is a very challenging time for people everywhere. It is the time that was referred to in the Bible when all that is hidden must now be revealed. It is a time when humanity is being purged and the negative behavior patterns of our lower human egos are being pushed to the surface to be healed and transmuted. This is a necessary part of our transformation and a cleansing that must occur in order for humanity to complete our ascension into the fifth dimensional crystalline solar frequencies of the new earth. This purification is happening for each of us individually and for all of us collectively. It seems as though every time we turn on the news, we see widespread reports of corporate greed, governmental corruption, the atrocities of war, gross imbalances in the economic system, and myriad other things that reflect humanity's fear and belief in separation. During this intense time of cleansing and awakening, people around the world are becoming vastly polarized over every conceivable aspect of life. These things have existed for a very long time, but they have not been brought to the attention of the masses as profusely as they are at this time. We have been told by the beings of light in the realms of illumined truth that humanity is in the midst of the greatest shift of consciousness ever attempted in any system of worlds. The earth and all her life are ascending step by step up the spiral of evolution into the fifth dimensional realms of limitless physical perfection. In order for the earth and humanity to complete this ascension process and for heaven on earth to become a manifest reality, we must heal the polarization. Only then will peace and the flow of God's infinite abundance become the order of the new day on planet Earth. Since unawakened humanity cannot easily grasp the concept of the oneness of life, it is up to awakened light workers to assist with healing the polarization. This means you and me and every other awakened person on earth. This is our purpose and reason for being an embodiment at this time. And we are already have everything within our hearts that we need to accomplish this mighty feat. What affects one part of life affects all life. In other words, as I am lifted up in consciousness, all life is lifted up with me. Instead of polarizing against everything we disagree with, we need to co-create a new reality, a reality that reflects our oneness and makes the concept of separation obsolete. We have the opportunity to assist in this endeavor daily and hourly as we take the power of our attention away from the illusion of separation and focus it on the vision of the new earth. When we observe something in our life or in the world that does not reflect reverence for all life or the oneness of life, we need to invoke the light of God into the situation and transmute the negativity associated with that illusion back into light. Then we can envision what we want to create in its place. Remember, our thoughts and feelings are creative. Instead of polarizing against our government, for instance, we can envision the people who hold public office responding to the directives of their I Am presence. We can also visualize them consistently striving for the highest good of all humanity. When greed and selfishness and gross imbalances in the distribution of wealth are brought to our attention, we can envision the I Am presence of the people involved taking command of their heart and mind, and we can visualize them responding with integrity, honesty, generosity, and the willingness to assist those who are less fortunate than themselves. Whatever we empower with our thoughts, words, actions, and feelings, we bring into form. We need to create the vision of what we want life on earth to be like. Then we need to set about creating that reality. In addition to empowering visions for the new earth with our every thought, word, action, and feeling, we have the ability to serve as surrogates on behalf of all humanity. Since all life is interconnected, when we lift into a higher level of consciousness or transmute an aspect of our consciousness that no longer serves our highest good, we also lift up and transmute the collective consciousness and energies of all humanity as well. As we transmute our own obsolete behavior patterns, we can ask the I Am presence of every man, woman, and child to lift up their consciousness and to transmute their behavior patterns simultaneously. The universal law is simply, ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door will be opened. Because of the intensity of the challenges humanity is going through at this time, the Company of Heaven asked awakened light workers around the world to utilize the collective cup of humanity's consciousness to co-create a force field of divine love that will perpetually envelop the earth and all life evolving upon her. The divine intent of this request is to greatly assist in shifting the mass consciousness of humanity by empowering the awareness of the oneness of all life in the hearts and minds of people everywhere. As this infinite comprehensive divine love floods into the hearts and minds of unawakened souls, they will be inspired to raise their heads above the chaos and confusion. They will then, at long last, be able to perceive their own light. The company of heaven has revealed that with the gifts of light we were blessed with as we passed through the fifth dimensional Lion's Gate, our collective I Am presences co-created a force field consisting of brand new frequencies of our Father, Mother, God's comprehensive divine love. This greatly intensified force field of divine love will embrace Mother Earth and all life evolving upon her until this planet is wholly ascended and free. This frequency of our Father, Mother, God's divine love is far more powerful in its impact on humanity's global consciousness than any of the other humanly generated force fields of energy perpetuating the serious problems facing us on this planet. It is a universal law that if the inner conditions or forces within humanity's global consciousness are transformed through love, the outer conditions of the world will proceed to reflect the divine plan for Mother Earth. The divine plan for Mother Earth is a living, active, all-powerful force field of God's infinite light that will produce perfection if not interfered with through the lower human free will choices. In the heavenly realms, the beings of light work purely and precisely with the great forces of cause, knowing full well that the effects will take care of themselves. Most of us are currently trying to manage the effects in our lives rather than focusing on the cause, which will truly change the situation from within. To ensure the transformation of inner conditions for humanity and Mother Earth, the company of heaven wants us to know that our I Am presences have successfully consecrated our life force, and we are now the open door for the light and love of God. And so it is, beloved, I am that I am. God bless you, dear one. I look forward to being with you next week.